أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم صلى الله عليك يا مولاي يا رسول الله صلى الله عليك وعلى آلك الطاهرين المظلوم اللهم صل على علي بن موسى الرضا المرتضى الإمام التقي النقي وحجتك على من فوق الأرض ومن تحت الثرى الصديق الشهيد صلاة كثيرة تامة زاكية متواصلة مترادفة كأفضل ما صليت على أحد من أولياء. Commemorating the Shahada anniversary of our eighth Imam, Al-Imam Ali ibn Musa Al-Ridha alayhi salam. Inshallah, I'll take just some minutes of your time. It would be convenient to, inshallah, bless our gathering with mentioning a couple of dimensions of the moral character of the Imam alayhi salam by mentioning a few examples. Two things I thought to share with you tonight. One is his humility alayhi salam, and another is his forbearance and pardoning. Humility, when I talk about the humility of Imam Rida alayhi salam, I'm not talking about any normal figure, let alone or let aside that he's the Hujjatullah, that he was the most knowledgeable person on earth on his time, in his time, that he was the Hujjatullah in his time, that he was the Imam of his Zaman, that he was the Khalifa of Rasulullah of his time. Let aside all that. Imam alayhi salam, at some point in time, he was what? He was the person who was the second most powerful person in the state or in the government when he was given the position of Wilayatul Ahd, or the position of heir apparent next to the throne. Imam alayhi salam wouldn't treat people with this title. A few stories. There's one companion of the Imam, a narrator from the Imam alayhi salam, Al-Bizanti. So his name was Ahmad bin Muhammad bin Abi Nasr Al-Bizanti. He was known as Al-Bizanti. He was a great scholar of his time. And he would discuss with the Imam, learn from the Imam. At one point, he asked the Imam, he said, "Oh, Imam, can you invite me to your place? I would like to spend some time with you and ask questions. I have things to ask and things to discuss." And the Imam, one day, he actually sent maybe some horse for him, inviting him to his place. Bizanti rode that horse, came to the Imam. It was the beginning of the night. And Bizanti would discuss with the Imam, would ask him his questions, would explain to him the problem he's facing, and the Imam would answer until it became a bit later in the night. It's time to sleep. Imam alayhi salam asked one of his servants, "Could you please bring me some of the clothes that I wear so that I can give them to my guest?" Some other reports said that the Imam himself actually went and brought what is necessary for his guest. Bizanti was so excited, so happy. He could fly from happiness. The Imam sensed that Bizanti might have felt something that would make him feel a bit more superior to others, because why? He feels privileged. I'm wearing the clothes of the Imam. I'm wearing his pajamas. Can you imagine? He felt so honored. The Imam told him, "Be careful of these thoughts. You're having these thoughts now, be careful of them." And he reminded him of that companion of Amir al-Mu'mineen who was sick, and Amir al-Mu'mineen came to visit him. That person also felt this, and Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam reminded him. And that person was Sa'sa'a bin Sawhan. This is one story about the humility of the Imam. Another story, we have mentioned it before, that once the Imam alayhi salam was in a public bath, and random person, he was just a person walking in, and a random person asks him, and he says, Massage me. The narration says that he said, Dallikni. He didn't say, please massage me. He said, massage me. The Imam went and he would massage the man. Normal, normal, random man. Some people noticed, they said, how could you allow this? This is the Imam. This is such and such. And that person was shocked and he turned to the Imam and said, I'm really sorry. I didn't notice. I didn't know. The Imam said, Bihaqqi alayk. Look, by my right over you. Take it easy. Please allow me to finish. It's fine. Don't worry. Other reports say that the Imam alayhi salam would eat. When he would eat, he would invite everyone in his household to join him. The servants, even those who take care of the cattle, of the horse, even those who are probably of lower social status, those who work, for example, in cupping, the hajjam they call it. The Imam would invite them to eat with him. Even in his final moments, some reports say that the Imam was actually suffering from the poison, actually. And it was time for him to eat, and he asked, did everyone eat? And they said, oh Imam, how can anyone eat when you're in this situation? We're sad for you. The Imam stood, he said, no, everyone should join. Another dimension is the forbearance of Imam Rida alayhi salam. It is reported that at the time of Harun al-Rashid, the accursed Harun, that Khalifa, alaykum salam wa rahmatullah, that Khalifa, he had ordered that all the followers of Ali in Medina, their houses should be looted. They should be harassed. One of the houses was the house of the Imam alayhi salam, Imam al-Ridha. And a man by the name of Isa al-Jaludi, this was a kind of a military commander. He arrived at the house of the Imam Rida alayhi salam. We should enter your homes, confiscate everything we find. Women, children, men, it doesn't matter. Imam Rida, he said, no, please don't enter. I can give you everything you want. Don't disrespect my women. Isa al-Jaludi insisted. The Imam insisted back. The Imam would insist so much. He would say, by Allah, I'll give you anything you want. Do you want the jewelry of my women? I'll give them to you. Indeed, the Imam goes and everything. Gives everything. One day, Ma'mun becomes the Khalifa. And Ma'mun shows some wrath against this Isa al-Jaludi. He imprisoned him. And Imam Rida became the next to the throne. One day they were both sitting together, Ma'mun and Imam Rida together. And Ma'mun brought Isa al-Jaludi, a prisoner. The Imam was whispering to Ma'mun, telling Ma'mun, pardon this man, release him. Ma'mun would say to the Imam, but this was the person who attacked your house. What do you mean, pardon him? So, pardon him. Isa al-Jaludi was far. He thought that Imam was whispering to Ma'mun to avenge him. So Isa al-Jaludi jumped to Ma'mun. He said, look, by God, don't listen to Imam Rida. Whatever he's saying to you, don't listen to him. Ma'mun indeed says, I will not listen to him. Go and behead him. And he was executed. Some people like ourselves, like myself, maybe if someone tells me a bad word, insults me 10 years ago, I hold it in my heart. I hold the grudge. Let alone someone maybe harmed me, physically harmed me. Isn't this our Imam? Isn't this our role model? Another is that once one of the Waqifiyya leaders, a leader of the Waqifiyya are those people who did not really admit the imamat of Imam Rida alayhi salam. They stopped with the Imam al-Kadhim. So this leader came with a group of people in the presence of Imam Rida, and he faced him. When he faced Imam Rida, he said, are you an Imam? Imam Rida said, yes, I am an Imam. The man answered, he said, I testify that you are not an Imam. Imam Rida looked down to the ground for some time. He raised his head to the man and he said, why are you saying that I am not an Imam? How do you know I'm not an Imam? The man answered, he said, well, it is narrated that from Imam Sadiq alayhi salam that he said that an Imam is someone who necessarily will have a son. You don't have a son. And you're this old now. Imam lowered his gaze as well. He looked down and he raised his head. The Imam said, I testify to God that the days and nights will not pass until God Almighty will grant me a son. Those people judged the Imam. They judged the Imam based on what they are expecting. They forgot maybe that, well, Allah might grant him a son. Still alive, the Imam. He didn't leave this dunya. But they judged him. And he was old of age. He was older than what people were expecting. He was 45, 46, something like that. He had Imam Jawad when he was 47, it is narrated. But people judged him. They judged his circumstances based on what they are expecting. They missed out a few things. Is this something that we do as well? Do we sometimes judge the circumstances of people? Do we judge the appearances of people? When we don't know much about their circumstances, sometimes, for example, we see a young single man. We start saying, come on, bro, when are you getting married? Come on. And with pressure. I'm not saying don't encourage, of course encourage, but do it the right way. Be in the right position first. Don't pressure people. Do you know the pressures that this person is facing before he even thinks about marriage? Do you know what problems he's facing before you pressure him with these comments? Or we see a married couple, for example. Man, it's been 2 years, we want to see your children. Out of love, right? We love them. We love people. We want to be nice. I'm not saying we have any malicious intentions. La samahallah, God forbid. We love people. We want to be nice. We want to encourage people to do good. But do you know the struggles that these couple are going through to have children? Do you think they don't want to have children, maybe? Why these comments? Why pressure people in this way? Even if you were the mother or the father of any of these couples, do you know or not that maybe one of them is keeping a secret about the other person that they shouldn't really expose? Why would you want to put people in this position? Or you might see a couple maybe they have a child. When are we going to see your second child? Come on. It's been 4 years, 5 years. So people, sometimes we might feel entitled to make these comments to people, but we don't know the struggles they're going through. We have no idea. We want to be nice. I'm not saying not. We're trying to be nice. We're trying to show that there's no barriers between me and my brother, for example. I love him or I love her. She loves me. I love her. Right? There is this kind of, it's a nice atmosphere that we should have. But does that really justify that we maybe make comments out of good intentions, but they end up hurting the other people? Do we think about these things? Or for example, sometimes if we see a man living with obesity, for example, we start making comments about their situation or so. Do we think of the possibility that there might be a medical condition? They might be, for example, going through some difficulties in their lives. Do we think about this? Or do we think just about the appearance? Or if we see maybe that same man losing weight, we say, oh, mashallah, you look much nicer now. What are we saying then? We're saying you were looking terrible before. We're saying that we were judging you before. Sometimes there are some words that we say, maybe we don't intend anything bad, but they can come across really hurtful. Or maybe if we see a lady gaining weight, we might also judge her appearance. Careful what you're eating. Oh, you look nicer this way. Oh, you look worse this way. Or, you're pregnant, congratulations, is probably one of the worst of them. Do you know, for example, if this lady is going through difficulties, maybe suffering from some maybe medical issues, medical problems, maybe anxiety? Do you know? Or you felt entitled to make some comments like that? Or if we see that same lady maybe losing weight, we also feel entitled to make comments. This is good, mashallah, you look nice. What are you doing? It's a nice diet you're following. But then we get an answer like, well, no, I'm facing, problems at home. I have issues eating. Or God forbid, I'm diagnosed with a terminal illness. But thank you for your kindness in pointing it out. What I'm trying to say is, my brothers and sisters, we need to be cautious. We need to be careful about comments that we make. Sometimes it's good to refrain altogether from comments that actually talk about, the appearances of us, all of us, right? comment about how radiant their faces is, or their face is. That's nice. MashaAllah, your face is shiny, is light. That's good. That's enough. Inshallah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala supports us to be followers of our Imams, practically in the way that is relevant in our own lives. They were not just names that we mention and we say salams to. Indeed, we should. But we should actually follow their footsteps in their forbearance, in their patience, in their humility. To the Masa'ib, after it was clear to Ma'mun that his plans and plots were not fruitful anymore with Imam Rida alayhi salam, due to the insistence of Imam Rida to follow a pure way of, or pure methods in dealing with his political position that he was given, it was time for Ma'mun to get rid of Imam Rida alayhi salam. Abu Salt al-Harawi, the companion of the Imam, reports in the last days of the Imam in this world that the Imam said to him one day, "O Abu Salt, tomorrow I will go to this wicked man, to Al-Ma'mun. If I leave with my head uncovered, then speak to me and I will speak to you. And if I go out with my head covered, then don't speak to me." Abu Salt said, when we woke up the next morning, the Imam put on his clothes and sat down and stood in his prayer niche, the mihrab, waiting. While he was like that, the servant of Ma'mun entered upon him and said to him, "Respond to the call of Amir al-Mu'mineen." And he meant Al-Ma'mun. So the Imam put on his sandals and his cloak and he stood up and walked. Abu Salt continues, he said, and I followed him until he entered upon Ma'mun. And before him was a plate of grapes and plates of fruit. And in his hand, the hands of Ma'mun, was a bunch of grapes, some of which he had eaten and some of which remained. When Ma'mun saw the Imam Rida alayhi salam, he jumped up to him, embraced him and kissed him between his eyes and sat him down with him. Then he handed him the bunch and he said, "O son of the Messenger of God, I have never seen grapes more beautiful than these." And he offered it. The Imam alayhi salam said, "Perhaps they are good grapes that are from paradise." Ma'mun said to him, "Eat some." The Imam said, "Excuse me from it." He said, "No, by Allah, you will please me when you eat from it. You must eat from it. What is holding you back from it? Perhaps you're accusing us of something malicious." The Imam asked 3 times to be excused, and the man would ask him, "By Muhammad, by Ali, to eat from it." So Ma'mun took the bunch of grapes and ate from it, and then he handed it to the Imam. And the Imam ate 3 pieces from it, and then he threw it away and stood up. Al-Ma'mun said, "Where to?" The Imam said, "Where you directed me." Abu Salt continues, he said, "The Imam then went out with his head covered. So I did not speak to him until he entered the house. He ordered the door to be closed, so it was closed. Then he lay in his bed, and I remained standing in the courtyard of the house, worried and sad. While I was like that," Abu Salt continues, he says, "a handsome young man with a curly hair entered upon me. And he was the most resembling of all people to Imam Rida alayhi salam. I rushed to him and I said to him, 'How did you enter when the door was closed?' And he said, 'The one who brought me from Medina at this time is the one who brought me into the house when the door was closed.' I said to him, 'Who are you?' And he said, 'I am the proof of God. I am Hujjatullah upon you, Abu Salt. I am Muhammad, son of Ali. I am the son of this Imam.' Then he went towards his father. He entered and ordered me to enter with him. When Imam Rida saw him, he rushed from his bed towards the young man. He embraced Imam al-Jawad and he held him close to his chest and kissed him between his eyes. Then he dragged him to his bed, and the young Muhammad bin Ali, the young Imam al-Jawad, leaned over him. He kissed him. He whispered something to him. Abu Salt, he said, I did not understand what he said. But then Imam al-Ridha alayhi salam, he stretched his limbs in his bed. The young Imam al-Jawad covered him with a cloak. This is the Imam al-Ridha who left this dunya gharib, as an estranged man, far away from his home. The young Imam al-Jawad covered the Imam with a cloak. He went to the middle of the house and said, "O Abu Salt, I said, Labbaik, at your service, O son of the Messenger of God." He said, "Azzam Allahu ajraka fir rida faqad mada." May Allah magnify your reward, for Imam al-Ridha has passed away. وقبر بطوس لها من مصيبة ألحت على الأحشاء بالزفرات إلى الحشر حتى يبعث الله قائما يفرج عنا الهم والكربات. It is said that Tus was filled with weeping, and the crying rose, and the people rushed from every direction to find out the news. And they would say, it is Ma'mun who killed him, who assassinated the Imam. So Imam al-Jawad alayhi salam washed al-Imam al-Ridha and shrouded him and prayed over him. But obviously we can't but remember Karbala. Oh Imam al-Jawad, when you came to your father, you found him on his bed, and he hugged you to his chest, and he kissed you and spoke to you. Then his soul departed this world. But what was the condition of your grandfather Zainul Abidin with his father Hussein alayhi salam? He was not able to be by his side in his final moments, but he looked at him from afar. But what was Imam al-Hussein's condition like? It is narrated that Imam Zainul Abidin said, when what happened to us in Karbala befell us, and my father Hussein was killed, and those who were with him from his children, the brothers and the rest of his family were killed, and his women were carried on saddlebags taken to Kufa, I began to look at them lying dead and not buried. So that was heavy on my heart, and my sadness intensified when I saw them. So my soul almost left me. My auntie Zainab, the daughter of Ali, noticed this in me, and she said, "Why do I see you in this state? Oh, the trace of my grandfather, oh, the trace of my father and brothers." I said, so Imam Zainul Abidin answered, "How can I not grieve when I see my master, my brothers and my uncles and my cousins and my family covered in their blood, thrown in the wilderness, stripped and not shrouded or buried, and no one visits them and no one comes near them, as if they were people from a despised enemy. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un wa la hawla wa la quwwata illa billahi al-aliyyil azim."